why change, right? Why change? And so that zero top down, or starting from the bottom up, we actually started to talk about, all right, well, what would happen if we did this? The first thought was, well, if we don't do this, we'll probably get fired. There was that, right? But then it started, it's like we were drawing things. All right, well, we might be onto something big. We might be an explorer. Others said, oh, it's going to be super scary. We're going to get a lot of no's. Yep, and we totally did. And, you know, you guys all would have seen Adobe's revenue drop. We might be one of the only companies in the industry who literally said to Wall Street, our revenue is going to drop for about 3 years, but don't worry about it. Absolutely don't worry about it. This is a predictable model. We're going to be able to do it. You just got to trust us. We had a magnificent CFO. And they went, oh, okay, yeah. All right. And they just went along while, this is definitely on now, they went along while our revenue dropped. But what we didn't think about was our partner revenue was going to drop too. Yeah. We forgot to tell them. Right? They were really angry, right? Like, what? You know, we can't sell that much Acrobat. We got to sell the creative stuff. And so then we're like, hurry, hurry. This is when we didn't have the dots connected. We had a finance guy go, okay, we got to build models. We got to build models for every partner. We got to show them what their revenue drop is going to look like, and then we got to convince them to go along with the ride, and everybody's going to hold hands, and everybody's got to trust us. And then we went on a road show to every partner. Your revenue is going to drop like this, but we promise it'll come back if you do X, Y, Z. Super scary time. And there were times where I'd come back to the office, and I'm like, God, I hope this is working. You know, telling big companies. Yeah. Bigger companies than us, right? So it took a lot of courage, and our internal team was the hardest, and we just kept doing it and doing it. And then to the part about is it all right? We actually started to say to people who were saying no, we were like, oh my God, you know what? I have no more time for you. You can't say no anymore. Like, we're already down this road. Like, to use a female analogy, we're already like 5 months pregnant. So we just have to keep going, right? And that was us leading as opposed to being on the tail of the dog.
So the courage to just do it and to take action and to try and to see and to take the risk of moving forward is a path of future readiness. I'm curious from your viewpoint, Chris. You talk a lot about there's no map. You know, the suspend the imagination. You know, what does one really look like, feel like? What is the picture in your mind of true future readiness?
Well, okay, all right, that's good. I think there is something to this metaphor of maps.
Yeah.
Kind of the maps that we navigate by, and I think there's something intuitive about, okay, so if we've got a map, surely it was written at some point in the past. And if the environment has changed, then it kind of makes sense that, okay, so the map is out of date and we need to update the map. That makes sense. I think the hard part is, what are my maps? And sort of, you know, to Cheryl's point about, you know, it's the digital world. Well, digital? That's an aspect of the world. I just live in the world, right? And we have so many maps like that. And so I think that a big part of future readiness, and I guess we'll never be completely ready, because it takes total self-awareness of, you know, what is my operating system? How are all these different assumptions and models and paradigms I'm working in that tell me that the world is this way, but in actual fact it's changed? And I think, I mean, I love the example, you know, as a historian during the Renaissance, you know, the brilliant example is Christopher Columbus, right? Who, you know, so what did Christopher Columbus famously do? He discovered America, right? But we forget that it was not his plan, right? The goal was to discover a sea route to Asia. Why? Because the land route to Asia was conquered by the Ottoman Empire. And so now you have all of these Europeans, and there's all fabulous money tied up in the trade for Asian spices and silks. And now if we want them, we've got to pay taxes to the Ottomans. We don't want to do that, so we've got to find our own route. And we looked at the map, best we understood it, and here's Europe, and here's Africa, and here's Asia. And it looks pretty clear that if I sail off the map this side, then eventually I should end up on the other side in Asia. And if people think that, oh, the world was flat, no, 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 no. Europeans in 50, like educated Europeans, they understood the world was round. They just had no idea how big it was. That was the question. So, run the experiment. I'm going to go and find a sea route to Asia. And, you know, the experiment is a success. I found land. And I come back to Europe and say, hey, Ferdinand, Isabella, success. You invested in me. I found a sea route to Asia. Brilliant. Where are the spices? Oh, well, it's not that I forgot, but I haven't found the spices. Oh, but you found some Asian silks. Like, no, I didn't find those either. Did you find any Christians? Because we've got missionaries over there. Like, no, didn't find any Christians. Like, what? Right? And he was so convinced that was his map, that was the world he was navigating by, that he had managed to actually make Europeans disappointed in the first couple of years, that he hadn't found what they were looking for.
One could even say he failed. I mean, he failed in that mission that he set out to do.
And so the end of the story is interesting, right? 10 years later, there's this other explorer, Amerigo Vespucci. He goes, follows these same, and he's the one who has the aha, that, you know what, this isn't Asia, right? This is a mundus novus, a new world, something that isn't on the map, that isn't described in the Bible. And he popularized that kind of frame change. And it totally changed Europe's whole attitude from disappointment to kind of excitement, possibilities. Oh, what might we discover there? You know, and they discovered tobacco and sugar and all these fabulous new crops and resources. And we named the discovery, you know, maybe the most important discovery in the history of Western civilization. We named it after Amerigo, the guy who changed the map. Right? So that's like a big headline example, but I know that we suffer from this blind spot.
Yeah.
I am so thankful for that discovery.
Likewise. Yeah.
Just what's interesting to me, and something I had read a number of years ago, is that people don't resist change, they resist being changed. And I think this is really, really true. When we think about if we were younger, we break up with our girlfriend, break up with our boyfriend or whatever, right? If we're driving that change, we're good with it. When we're the recipient of it and it's unexpected, now it's like my world has been uprooted, right? So I think when we imagine coming to forums like this, having dialogue, making sure that we bring this back into our organizations, we start having transparency and communication, and we start thinking about preparing people and having them stick their heads up from their desk, from those daily tasks, and looking at the world around them, I think is a real good first step to being future ready.
So suspending imagination, suspending the map, letting go of the plan of where you're going to go and set off to sail. What holds each of you in some ways, what holds you back from doing that? What are the obstacles to truly allow